What is up, everyone? It is Cards from Moo Moo's House of Zep, and we have a great video for you all today. Today, we want to go over how to grade your cards effectively and accurately so that you can get the most value when maybe selling or trading your cards to a shop or a friend. Grading your cards is really important, but it can also be a little difficult. I've seen a lot of posts online about people asking what grade their card is, which, by the way, is not the way to go about it. Do not ask people online to grade your cards for you over the internet through pictures. It does not work. Either way, this guy had a near mint card, and everyone online was telling him, like, lightly played, moderately played because of some bending that doesn't exist. So pretty much we want to make a video to help you grading your cards, really honestly show you that a lot of cards are more near mint than you might think they are. So let's get into it, and we want to start with the TCGPlayer Card Conditioning Standards. Now, the TCGPlayer Card Conditioning Standards classifies wear to your cards in a few different ways. There are certain descriptions of wear that I will work with. There are certain descriptions of wear that I will consider damaged right away due to various reasons. Let's go over it now so that you all can be a little more up to speed. So we're going to start with the bend. Bending is a fold or crease in the card. Usually I won't deal with bending because a fold or a crease in a card past a certain amount goes instantly to damaged. So that's no good for me. Usually if a card has a fold or a crease and I'm not trying to play with it, I will not even touch that card. And even if I am trying to play with it, I won't take a card with a huge crease that's really noticeable because it actually makes the card unplayable. Next, we're going to go through curling. Curling refers to the usual taco shape that you may see in some foils. Now, I will deal with curling up to a certain amount because most, if not all, foils do curl a bit. But if a card is very curled, I know it's just going to get more curled in the future and I won't even take it. So as far as curling goes, I'm only dealing with curling if it's a small amount. Now next is damage. Damage is anything that destroys the integrity of a card, such as a tear completely through the card or cut corners. I don't deal with damage because damaged, as it seems, means the card's damaged. You can't get anything above damaged value for that card. Now another thing that might be difficult to deal with is an indentation. An indentation is a pinprick which penetrates further than the top layer of the cardstock. Now, a single small pinprick can still be considered near mint, but they do tend to grow in size as material wears away from the edges of them. So I would be very careful and very cautious when purchasing a card which has a pinprick on it. Next is a defect. Now, a defect is a printing error or misprint. The reason I don't deal with defects or misprints for TCGPlayer specifically is because they would consider a defect, misprint, or an off-center card completely unsellable and damaged. Now, there is a complete market of people who would rather buy misprinted cards than regular ones. I would rather sell misprinted cards through that market than through TCGPlayer. Next is grime. Grime is dirt on the card, but grime is usually removable. So I usually wouldn't try to downgrade a card due to grime until I try to clean it with a soft, dry cloth first. That's a soft, dry cloth, just lightly rubbing the top of the card. Often that will get rid of most, if not all, grime and really stop your card from going from a near mint to a lightly or even moderately played card. Now we're going to go through the things that I usually deal with a little more often and I really look into quite a bit when I'm grading. We're going to start with a big one, edge wear. Edge wear is wear on the edge of the card which does not penetrate fully through the cardstock. Now we're going to see a lot of edge wear today and we're going to go through how to grade that. The reason that edge wear does not fully penetrate through the cardstock is because if it did, it would become a fault. A fault is basically edge wear, though it's usually on the corner, that penetrates fully through the cardstock or causes a layer of cardstock to start completely peeling off the card. Now, faults can bring down the value of a card by quite a bit, and they tend to expand, so really try to be mindful when you notice them. Next is a scratch. A scratch is a single penetrating mark that usually penetrates further than the first layer of cardstock. Literally, it's a single scratch right through the card. It's not going to go all the way through the card. That would be damage. And really, I'd be careful with a scratch. If it's just penetrating the first, maybe second layer of cardstock, you're good. Anything further than that, I might not want to take a scratched card. Now, scuffing. Scuffing is something we see quite often. Now, that's multiple penetrating marks which do not penetrate further than the first layer of cardstock. Now, the last thing we're going to go over is surface wear. Surface wear does not penetrate the first layer of cardstock, usually only affecting the coloring or artwork of the first layer. It can also be fading. So whether we see fading or any sort of removal of that top layer of artwork or coloring, we're going to consider surface wear. So let's move on. Let's break out some cards for you all to look at, and let's try to grade them and just quickly see what really makes a card different grades. All right, everyone, so we're back. We have the second camera out to get a better look at the cards, and we're going to start with a personal favorite card of mine. That's Sarah's Sanctum. It's a pretty expensive card, and probably the first expensive card that I've... Let's take a quick look at it. When I bought this, it was LP+. It was a very, very good condition, and it's still in pretty good condition, but I have played with it quite a bit. So let's take a closer look at this card and see what we find. All right, so before we get too into this, we want to grab a few things. We are going to grab our jeweler's loupe to get a close look at the card if we have to, and I also have a more powerful, just single magnifying lens. Now, you're also going to want to grab a playmat just to avoid damaging the card while you're looking at it. But let's zoom in here, and I have it focused so we can zoom in pretty good. And now let's look at the card. Now you can see we have some edge wear. That's fine. That's what happens when you play with a card. But as far as the surface, man, we have almost nothing on the surface besides a slight dot right there, which really isn't much at all. And the front of the card just looks beautiful. There is no curling in the card. And we have a very slight bend, but it is definitely not beyond the threshold where it would be considered a wear on the card. So the one thing we obviously have on this card is some edge wear. You can see it on the corner there. We have some more edge wear right here. And we have a bit of corner wear there. And throughout the card, another pretty much all four corners, as well as some edges, another little bit right there, are worn. Now, I previously measured this before the video, and I came out to 79 total millimeters of edge wear. Now, the total length of the edge of the card is 302 millimeters. 79 millimeters is actually just within the threshold of a card still being lightly played and not moderately played. Depending on who's grading the card, they might say moderately played, but I'm going to say lightly played because really the only noticeable issue is edge wear, as well as a very small mark right there on the card, which could be grime. We're not going to try to clean it because this card's way too special to me, and I want to get it back into its perfect hard and card sleeve and back into my Sithis deck. So stick with us. Let's look at another card that has a bit of damage, but is still near mint. All right, everyone. So we have here a Tatiova Benthic Druid. Used to be a card played in EDH. I don't really think anyone who's like a good player plays this card anymore, but yeah, you never know. Either way, this card is definitely near mint, but we can see we have a little bit of wear on it. Now we see the card is generally very clean, but we have edge wear and edge wear right there. So we have one piece of edge wear, two pieces of edge wear, and a little bit on the bottom. Now, I already measured this. It's about 12 millimeters of edge wear there, and then just 1 millimeter for each of these dots. So that's 14 millimeters total of edge wear. Now, as you may have noticed before, when I pulled it up on screen, the threshold for a near mint card is actually, I think, 23 millimeters. So, 15 to 17 millimeters of edge wear, you still got a near mint card. This card clearly has wear, but is still considered near mint, so be careful about that. If you really want a card with no wear on it, you might not want to buy a near mint card online because it could possibly come with wear, and you really couldn't say anything about it because it is still near mint. Now, lastly, I want to look at this. This is a really nice devoted Droot. And the reason I picked it is because the foil, and it's got a slight bend in it. Now, that bending is not something I would be worried about. Another reason I wanted to look at this card is because it's pretty good looking, and you could really see the layers and the card stock here. So you could see, if we had a fault, we could see the card stock would be peeling. Now, what I want to do, we'll look at that, and I'm going to look through the collection and see if I can find anything else really nice to showcase to you guys. All right, so the next card we're going to look at here is a Phantasmal Image, and oh man, this is an old card from M12. I love this Phantasmal Image. It's a little tougher to see on the camera with the foils. Let's try to get a better focus here. All right, so the foils are a little tougher to see on camera, but I just did a better focus. But you could see we have almost no wear at all on this card. There is a tiny bit of edge wear, nothing that's going to put it past near mint. Now, what I want to see here is this little dot. I want to see if it's grime. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a makeup pen, and I'm just going to very lightly go over that here and just see if it comes off. If it doesn't, then it's permanent. If it does, then it's not. Alrighty. So, you don't want to add damage to the card when you're cleaning it, but let's see. Okay, it's still there. So that is not grime. That is actually surface wear. And now you'll notice on foil cards, when you have surface wear, you'll actually see a silver shine through and not a white. So always keep that in mind. Look for a silver shining through. So that's a bit of surface wear. We've got a bit of edge wear here, but honestly, every bit of wear on this card is like a millimeter a piece. We got a little edge wear on the corner, another little bit on the corner, another corner, but this corner is actually just fine with a little surface wear. So the last thing we can have a look at here is the bending. There is a slight bit of bending in this card. I play with it, so I'm not even gonna, I wouldn't measure it unless I tried to sell it. This could possibly make the card LP, possibly moderately played, but the way to do this would actually be to lay the card flat and come at it from the side. I don't know if I could really get that on camera, but let's give it a try, huh? So, this is going to be a really weird angle, but I think you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. See that bend there? How the card just kind of comes up a little bit? And so this isn't going to be the greatest video quality, but I really feel like it's important to show you guys how to measure this. Take your ruler. All right, everyone. So you can see right here. All right, everyone. So you can see right here. We don't want to push this into the playmat because then we'll get more wear than we might need. But we got 2 millimeters of bend right there at the worst part. So 2 millimeters of bend on that card. Once again, sorry for the weird camera angles, but I really feel like it's important for everyone to see that there. 2 millimeters of bend on the card, which we'll look at the conditioning standards, and let's see where we're at. As for bending, we are actually allowed 10 millimeters before we get out of lightly played. It's not going to be a near mint because any bending at all disqualifies it from being near mint, but you can have at least 10 millimeters of bending before you disqualify yourself from having a card that's lightly played. Now, otherwise, the curling, you need 5 millimeters of curling. Anything above 5 millimeters of curling is going to be damaged no matter what, so we are nowhere near that. We've just got like 2 millimeters of bending here. All right, everyone. So thank you for joining us. Hope you learned a little something about grading cards and about how sometimes wear doesn't actually make a card lightly played. It can still be near mint. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Check out our link tree for all of our socials. And check out our website, moonmoosehouseofcards.com, where you can buy and sell us your cards at great prices. Keep in touch, check out our live streams, watch out for our monthly giveaways. Thanks for joining us. It's been Cards from Moo Moo's House of Zep. Peace out.